empowering language. So you use it for yourself, ladies. Take ownership of your action, and you teach your children to take ownership. For example, if you say, oh, this is what happened, and then I snapped, then I yelled because this is what happened. No, you change your language. You say, this is what happened, and then I chose to yell. Once you phrase it like that, it empowers you to think, okay, I did choose to yell this time, but can I choose something else next time? Or there was a choice to do something else as well. You really take ownership and you really start thinking of other options. Okay, why am I choosing to yell at this time? I know that my child is having a hard time. Why am I choosing to yell though? What else can I choose? Another thing is sometimes we use helpless language like I couldn't control myself. No, I chose to act on my impulses. Or then I can't stop thinking about his toilet accident. For example, your child, you told them dozens of times, hundreds of times, you had practice with them to do their wee-wee in the toilet, for example, and they chose to do it. Or, it just came out. You feel really frustrated. We've practiced this dozens of times. Why can't he just go to the toilet when he needs to? So then you are upset about that and you're cleaning it. You're continuously being upset about that. So instead of saying, oh, I can't stop thinking about what he did, you can just say, I'm choosing to think about the toilet incident repeatedly. So then I can also choose to let go. Okay, it happened. I let go it in my brain. I stopped thinking about it and I move on. Wouldn't life be much easier if we were all took more ownership of how we feel and what we do? So then there's one more skill that I'm going to teach you, but it's a really powerful skill, and it's use the power of praise. And now this is a little bit of sneak peek of my course, Defiant to Compliant. I choose lots more tools in there. And one of the tools is how to use praise properly. This is effective, especially with younger kids, but it's also effective with older ones. Now, one of the worksheets I give out, a lot of practice. So acknowledging positive behavior. For example, brainstorm words you use to praise your child to increase behaviors you want to see more of. So for example, I want to see, what are the behaviors that you want to see more of? For example, you want to see your child practicing letters on their own. So what praise statement can you use to encourage more of that? It is, I saw you practicing your letters. You're getting better every time, right? Also, like problem solving, you want to see more of. So then you have to catch them in the act of doing it. You have to catch them. You have to really make an effort to notice the positive behaviors that you want to see. So what helps is making this list. So the list of, this is a cheat sheet for you. So you can make this sheet for yourself. What you can do is write on one side, I want to see more of. Write all the behaviors that you want to see more of. So you want to see more of problem solving, for example. Then you can teach your child, you kept trying different ways to fit that piece on the puzzle. That's a great way to solve problems. Or instead of fighting with your brother, you gave him another toy as a bargain. What a great problem solving. What else you want to see? You want to see more of them helping out. Any teeniest thing they do, even with not with the intention of helping, is just like, okay, they saw something on the floor, they picked it up. You notice it immediately. Oh, you are such a great helper. You keep the house tidy. Notice that and praise that. So whatever behavior you want to see more of, make a praise statement and use it. Another way to use praise, you can use the positive opposites, or you can use the proximal praise. So very good for behaviors you want to see less of. For example, the behavior you want to see less of is yelling, right? So then the positive opposite would be speaking politely. So then you ignore the yelling, rather you focus, all your focus on the praising the positive. So you catch them in the act of not yelling, right? You catch them in the act of not yelling and you say, well done for speaking politely. You sound so calm. So you acknowledge that and you praise that. So praise the positive opposite of the behavior you don't want to see. Another thing is proximal praise. There's a word of caution for this praise, and it's not to use it when there's friction, when it invites sibling rivalry. It is generally better to use it in a big group of people where children don't take things personally. For example, in a classroom where there are 20 kids, for example, then it's very good to use that praise. For example, you want to see all of them sitting nicely, right? So then, because you want to start the lesson, you want them to sit quietly. So you can praise one child that is almost sitting nicely, right? You're going to say, well done for being attentive and sitting quietly so I can begin my lesson. And you are going to notice that immediately 10 more students are sitting nicely. So then you're going to say, oh, well done. Look at you. You guys are so well behaved. Almost all of you are sitting nicely. So then, they're not going to take it personally. They're going to, all of them, sit nicely, wait for you patiently. However, sometimes I show you how not to use it. So for example, if you have already told one of the siblings, you don't keep your room tidy, or like there is some friction on that. You told them your room is always messy. So then don't use proximal praise then, because then definitely praising other sibling is going to call rivalry. So then don't tell the other one, oh, I love how you keep your room clean. That's going to invite jealousy, right? So that's not going to be effective. So if you see any of your children taking things personally or feeling like the praise is actually put down of them, then don't use the proximal praise. So then you can use the positive opposite, where you can say, oh, well done, I saw how you put your pillow back today. Even though they didn't make their whole bed, but you chose to ignore that and you chose to focus on what they actually did, was their pillow was on the bed. So well done for your pillow on the bed. Well, this is how you use praise to correct their behavior. It is a life skill. That's what I'm saying. These are all life skills. They're going to serve you in every area of life. Not just for kids. It's very good. These are very good skills for adults as well. So if your husband feels like whenever you disagree, you're doing it disrespectfully, then do use these words. You say that, I would love to disagree respectfully. And remember to keep your face, voice, and body calm. Anything could be taken as disrespect. So keep your face, voice, and body calm and voice your opinion. This is my opinion. This is what I feel. Even though I completely accept your position. Or actually, don't say disagree properly. You can also say, I have a different opinion. And this is my opinion. Yeah, just voice your opinion. This is what I think. But also know, sister, that's different with husband. Because then, in the end, as ultimate sign of respect, even if you disagree with him, it is a good idea to accept his leadership, his authority, and say, even though I have a different opinion, I am going to choose to do what you ask me to do. I'm going to do what you ask me to do because I respect you, or because I respect your role as a leader. I showed you how to use praise as a powerful tool in tarbiyah. Ladies, in my course, Define Her Compliant, I also tell you all the ways of praise that are detrimental, that you don't want to do. This was just a taster, a sneak peek. So your child's failure, does it mean it's your failure? Sisters, if you take your child's failures personally, you are more likely to react rather than teach. Versus if a parent takes their child's failures as their own failures, as a lack of skill, what are they going to do? They're going to want to teach the child. So then, ladies, many of you carry this weight around, that our children are clean slate. Our children, like we shape them and we mold them. And that's not true. They come with their own personalities. They come with their own characteristics, ladies. It is just like you planting a seed. If you plant the seed, every seed is going to grow up, is meant to be. So an apple tree cannot become a mango tree, no matter how hard you try. So your child is going to grow up what they're meant to be. They're not going to grow up how you want them to be. You can't control anybody. All you can do is provide the right education, the right environment, the right teaching, and the results are in Allah's hands. They're inshallah going to grow up what they're meant to be. And inshallah, we are going to influence them. We're going to influence their thoughts. We teach them Islam. This is our responsibility. We have to take a full ownership of teaching them Islam, because Prophet ﷺ says that كل مولود يولد على الفطرة, that everybody is born on fitrah. أبواه يهودانه أو يمجسانه أو ينصرانه أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then their parents turn them into fire worshipper or a Jew or Christian. So the religion is completely your responsibility. You're going to start teaching them since they're very tiny about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But everything else, their characteristics, their personality quirks, their, like, for example, autism, you can't control those things. They're going to grow up what they're meant to be. So don't carry this heavy burden that you are the one responsible to shape your child. No, you're not. You are only a teacher and educator. Ladies, mothers, if you remember your role is as a teacher, then whatever failures you see in your child, you're going to take them as an opportunity to equip them with skills and teach them, not to be upset about it.